Hello everybody, and welcome back to the Radioactive Screen podcast, where we talk everything involving the film, the television, and some other bits in between. I am Sam. I'm here with Josh. Say hello, Josh.
Hi. I mean, this is really professional for us.
I know.
I'm not sure I like it.
I've turned a new leaf. I think that's the saying. Turned a new chapter.
I don't think we're going to gel very well.
I've sat on the roof and I've kicked off the moss. And a few of the verses, well, they got me quite cross. Don't know where the Elton John lyrics came from, but there you go.
Have you been watching Rocket Man?
No, I haven't. I do actually want to see it, but I haven't seen it yet.
More news on that later.
Oh, is there?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Well, am I it's either I'm psychic or we've just got that special connection that weird twins share in horror films when like one of them dies and the other one kills people from beyond the grave because the other one... No. Wait, I think one of them dies and the one of them that is alive starts killing people because the one who died has been telling them to do that from beyond the grave, and it all just ends up being a bloody mess, and it turns out they were kids, but dead kids is a good thing.
I mean... Wow.
I think we've lost the professionalism straight away there.
I almost went straight past that, but I was kind of comparing us to the girls out of The Shining. The little girls.
Yeah, dead twins.
Dead twins that kill people, yeah.
Not the dead twins that I've got in my basement.
But both of them are dead. Wow.
See, the professionalism has gone.
Yep. It's about time. I thought they were in your garage anyway. Well, you made a comment earlier about your garage.
Oh, it smells a little bit.
No, but it's getting a bit noncy.
Yeah, we'll cut that bit out. Well, welcome to the Radioactive Screen podcast, guys. I hope you've had a good week. We've got some good movie news for you this week, I think. I don't know if it's good. Some of it's good. And then we've got an extra special treat. We don't, actually. It's just part of the normal podcast, but it's going to be an emotional roller coaster like it always is between us two when we're talking about films and stuff.
Yep, there'll be highs, there'll be lows, there'll be tears.
That's the definition of a roller coaster. There might even be a loop-de-loop.
Oh. I'm excited.
Oh. You should be.
Yes.
Should be excited for that loop-de-loop.
So are we
euphemism for a sex move, I'm guessing.
I
don't know what the loop-de-loop could be.
Don't know. I mean, we can make one up on the spot.
We'll go for some movie news first, I think. What is first up?
Okay, well, seeing as you started with a little Rocket Man reference there.
We'll go straight into Elton John.
So, you know how we were...
I didn't even mean it that way.
Was that a little game?
No, that wasn't actually... I didn't actually mean it that way.
You know how last week we were talking about Sherlock?
We were talking about Sherlock.
Sherlock Holmes 3 with Robert Downey Jr. is moving forward.
Yep.
But Guy Ritchie's not involved anymore.
Ah, yes.
It's for director of Rocket Man.
I did know this news. Yeah, it's Dexter Fletcher, isn't it?
Yep. I don't think we need another Sherlock Holmes film.
I'm pretty sure we said this exact thing last week.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. Welcome to the Deja Vu podcast, guys.
But we didn't have this news.
No, it's true, yeah. No, I don't think we need another Sherlock Holmes film.
Because last week it was Henry Cavill getting cast in the Enola Holmes film.
Came to the same conclusion as that we don't think we need another Sherlock Holmes film, but I suppose because it's such a big pop culture figure is probably never going to die. Or at least we don't need one now, like maybe in...
Shelve it for like 10, 15 years or so.
Yeah, maybe even longer, and then like by all manner of new technology has arrived by then, and they'll just do another modernisation of it or something like that with, I don't know, Tom Holland when he's 30-odd.
Yeah, because they also did one... a couple of years back with Sir Ian McKellen, Mr. Holmes.
Yes, they did. Yes, yeah.
I'm not actually.
What did you call him?
Mr. Holmes, I think.
No. What did you call him?
I called him McKellen.
Yeah, you did.
McKellen.
Yeah. It's Ian McKellen.
Whoops. My brain doesn't work today.
Does it ever?
It's been a very long week. Okay. I mean, it's been a long life.
Yeah, it really has. Yeah. But
how for the depression stage of the Radioactive Screen podcast?
Yeah, we seem to hit that every week at the beginning.
Yeah.
At the moment. How are you, Josh? How are you feeling within yourself?
Where's my life going? I mean, after Star Wars Episode 9, I don't know.
It's a good point. I did have that existential crisis earlier on this year about, film and stuff and TV. It was Game of Thrones. So we had Endgame, Game of Thrones. I knew Star Wars was coming later on in the year. And it's just sort of like the ending of probably the greatest film and TV events, probably in the history of film and TV ever, I would say. I
mean, we have Avatar 2 coming up.
Get out of my house. But because I had these thoughts and I was just like, I can't really. The only things that were getting me excited beyond that was the Amazon Lord of the Rings TV show. But again, we don't know anything about it. The fact that I knew we were going to be getting a Marvel Phase 4, but I think part of it was like we don't know where the direction of it is heading. We've had a little bit more information about that.
So just to like butt in a little bit, I was speaking to someone at work about like Spider-Man and everything.
Yeah.
And we were discussing where it could go. I don't want to see all these new characters. I want them to focus on the ones we already know and love, to be honest.
I think they will.
Well, there's Eternals and Shang-Chi, at least, they're coming out.
Yeah, they're gonna have to bring in some new characters, but I mean, you've got,
it's rumoured
like we've said before,
a version of the Illuminati as well.
I think that's what they were setting up in Far From Home. They were setting up Spider-Man to become the focal point. Or sorry, they're probably going to set Spider-Man and Captain Marvel to be like the main focal points going forward. We know we're getting Guardians 3, and we know Hemsworth said he's having the most fun he's ever had. Yeah. So at least we've still got Hemsworth. So that's 4.
We know we're getting WandaVision.
Forget the TV shows that they're doing for the moment. We know for a fact, a damn certainty, that we will be getting a second Black Panther film, because that did so well the first time. They're not going to ignore that.
Yep,
and like I say, the cultural implications, that makes it sound really, really bad, but I don't mean it that way. If they didn't do that, Black Panther was a massive thing culturally for a lot of people. And to be fair, Black Panther is a fucking cool character, so it'd be great to see more of him. And I think we're also getting Doctor Strange too.
Yeah, and we're also getting Black Widow.
6 and Black Widow, so there's 7 films right there at least.
I mean, in my opinion, Black Panther was an overrated film, if I'm honest, but
I think
have we done our MCU ranking?
No, I was going to try and do it on a YouTube video.
So keep an eye on the YouTube channel, guys.
Yeah, definitely keep an eye on the YouTube channel.
That'll be coming up
I don't think Black Panther was as good as what everyone made it out to be, but I still really enjoyed it. Yeah. Like, it was still solid. Solid Marvel is still above average when you just take into consideration, like, just film in general.
To be honest,
I think it's far above average.
I wouldn't say they've done a bad Marvel film in years.
No, I don't think they have either.
No,
definitely not.
I would say maybe Iron Man 2 was probably the last not great Marvel film.
Yeah, well, Iron Man 3.
I didn't mind Iron Man 3.
We differ on opinions on that, don't we?
Yeah.
In all fairness, I think I've only ever seen it the once, and no, I've seen it 2 or 3 times. I remember I got it on Blu-ray and I tried to watch it again and I was just like, it's just not great.
The Mandarin twist always disappoints me.
Yeah, massively. But so that was that existential crisis. And then there's little things you forget about as well. So like, I'd forgotten about Stranger Things. Obviously, we then had season 3, but that's also ending.
Yeah, I'd heard a rumor
they're only doing 4.
Cancelling it.
No, they're not cancelling it. They said after the second season aired, whenever that aired, I think they said they're only doing 4 and that's it. Sort of like what Breaking Bad did. They were like, we don't want
natural end for the story.
Not only that, they say they don't want to outstay the welcome and end up being something like
Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Although that didn't outstay its welcome, it just
was shit in the last season.
It just went. Well, it didn't have its source material to draw from.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully Stranger Things doesn't have a chance to get shit.
Yeah.
I mean, not that I've ever seen it, so I can't really comment on
all 3 seasons so far have been brilliant, because I've finished season 3.
You finished. So do you want to go into a little detail about what you thought on season 3?
I really enjoyed it. The one thing I would say about season 3 is that they focused ever so slightly less on the horror elements, which I didn't like. They brought in a lot more comedy into it, and I think part of what made it so great, especially in the first season, is that it was brutal and it was dark, and at times it was damn well unsettling and scary, whereas I get what they've been trying to do. I think it's almost like they sort of went down the route of kind of like what a lot of films did in the 80s, where the best examples I can think of are Alien and Terminator, where the first 2 were almost horror films. In fact, flat out were horror films. And then as they evolved, they just turned into almost straight up action. Yeah. And obviously, Stranger Things is very much 80s nostalgia.
Yeah.
So in that sense, yeah. I get what they're doing, but I kind of wish, and this is what I wish, ironically, for things like Alien and things like Terminator, which are still going today, that they focus more on what made them so great in the first place, and that is the horror element. But Stranger Things Season 3 was thoroughly enjoyable from start to finish.
I'll actually add that to my list. It's just growing longer and longer by the minute.
Just go straight into Stranger Things, I think. I don't think there's anything on your list that's more important than that.
I mean, I started Game of Thrones and then kind of...
Yeah, and then Season 8, and you saw the fallout of Season 8, and we're just like, nah.
Yeah. I've still got your DVDs. Not DVDs, Blu-rays.
Blu-rays, God.
I don't want to make you sound like a peasant.
I don't watch Peasant Vision. In all fairness, Blu-ray is now Peasant Vision to me.
Yeah,
it's all about that 4K life. Oh, yeah.
I mean, I've just bought a 4K TV, but it's in the box at the moment.
Welcome to the future. Why is it still in the box? You bought that last week.
Yes, because I'm moving house at the end of a month.
I don't care.
And I have nowhere to set it up.
You get it hooked up. You hook it up in the middle of the room for all I care. It's a 4K TV, Josh!
It's bigger than my current TV, and I have no room in my bedroom.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not fair enough, but I can't be asked arguing anymore.
I know it's not fair enough,
Tearing this marriage apart.
Oh, no. I'm just waiting until I can move and then get it all set up. And I need to get a PS4 Pro, I think. Get full 4K-ness. 4K-ness. Moving on.
Good stuff.
Good stuff.
Yes, what's next?
This is a bit of ridiculous news, I think. The producer for the new Sonic the Hedgehog film thinks people are going to like it now that they've redesigned the character.
I mean...
Scrap it.
I won't be seeing it. I'm really sorry if you really wanted to see our review of Sonic the Hedgehog. If you managed to make our podcast and our YouTube channel go viral in like the time it takes for that film to come out, then we will go watch it and we will live stream our experience. But unless something drastic like that happens, I will not be going to see that film.
No, like, I don't think the complaints with the trailer ended with the design for Sonic.
I think it's just more of the fact that why are they even bothering?
Yeah,
It's not exactly a cash cow.
It's not as big as it once was.
No.
To be honest.
I think I played one Sonic game in my entire life, thought it was crap. And that was when I was a kid as well.
I remember playing, I think it was Sonic Generations or Sonic Universe, I can't remember what it's called, on Dreamcast, and that was like, I used to play that all the time, but apart from that...
I never owned a Dreamcast.
I'd never had a PS1.
See, I had a PS1, but it was years after it came out. Had a PS2, GameCube. I loved the GameCube, in all fairness. That was quality. I had a SpongeBob game for the GameCube.
Okay.
It was just brilliant. It was so much fun. Curse of the Flying Dutchman, I think it was, or something daft like that. It was just a random callback.
I had Dreamcast, PS2, PS3, PS4.
Oh, we had a Nintendo 64 as well.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, now we're talking old school.
Nice.
Yeah.
I was never that much of a retro gamer, to be honest.
Well, you know what I'm like with gaming. I had these... Never really appreciated them as much at the time, I don't think. I think I just sort of was like, I've got a thingy, I'll play on it. Never look back on it going, these are the days of my lives, which a lot of people do with gaming. It's weird. Yeah, well... Sorry, yeah, segues abound.
Segues. Well, we're still on the subject of...
Sonic. I thought we'd finish with that. No. I thought I was just going to go, right, well, no, it's crap. Right, let's move on. But if that's not the case.
No, that's it for Sonic.
That is the case. Yeah. Sonic, it's going to be crap. Let's move on.
Whilst we're talking about video game adaptations...
Oh, is this the next bit of movie news? That's what you were trying to sort of segue into.
Yep.
And I interrupted that.
Yep.
Like I'm doing now.
Yep.
Every time you speak.
Yep.
Sorry, go on.
So...
anyway, so what I had for lunch today... No, I can go on.
So what did you have for lunch today?
Chicken wraps. Go.
Beautiful. Tom Holland's Uncharted movie will be following the video game story.
Great. Well done.
I mean...
What?
I kind of understand it because, you know, he's younger than Nathan Drake.
You understand that in the games, but that's why they just don't cast Tom Holland as Nathan Drake.
Nathan Fillion.
What's always been What's always been the problems with video game adaptations? They've not actually followed anything to do with the video games. And what have most video games, if not all video games adaptations, been? Crap. Follow the games. That's what your fans want to see. How hard is it? God! That's my mini rant. Blasting through these. Next.
In, I suppose, better video game adaptation news, because we've had quite a bit this week.
All right, go on.
The Mortal Kombat movie reboot is going to be R-rated. And it's going to have fatalities.
I don't care, but I don't get Mortal Kombat. Again, never really played it, so it doesn't really appeal to me.
Yeah, but it's going to be more of a faithful adaptation, I suppose.
You can't have a faithful adaptation of that. What's that type of game called?
Fighting?
Fight is just a fighting game.
Yeah.
You can't have a faithful adaptation of that. I don't understand how you can.
We had a Street Fighter film with Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Never saw it.
It was apparently terrible.
Exactly.
Well, yeah.
Exactly. It can't be done. Just pick BioShock already, for God's sake. How hard is it?
Or The Last of Us.
Oh, The Last of Us, I'll give you that.
With Joel Edgerton.
I haven't played it, but I'll give you that.
Such a good game.
You know, just cast Ellen Page as well, even though she's like 40 now.
Yeah.
I don't think she's that old. I'm sorry, Ellen Page, if you're listening. I know you're not, but what are you, like 32?
There was a lot of controversy when...
Gonna Google that.
When the first Last of Us was being released, because everyone thought it was Ellen Page, but it wasn't.
I thought she was voicing it.
No.
No.
It was Ellen Page in Beyond Two Souls that came out around the same time, so everyone thought she was in both of them. So that kicked up a lot of fuss, but...
Fucking hell, yeah. 32. 5 years older than me. Well,
Okay.
yes.
Good guess.
That was a good guess, that, yeah. I think so. 1987. I'm 1992. That's 5 years, isn't it? I don't care. Can't be asked doing the maths. It's Friday.
Okay,
Yeah.
moving on.
Next.
The Power Rangers movie has been rebooted.
I
with a new
saw
cast.
something about that today. Yeah, they're doing a new cast.
Yep.
Did you see the Power Rangers? Because it's the Bryan Cranston one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you didn't see it?
I never saw it.
Now, I'm someone who I saw a couple of episodes of Power Rangers when I was young. I think Power Rangers was at its height just before I was kind of old enough to watch and understand and appreciate it. So I've never actually been a huge Power Rangers person.
Yeah, I've never
But
really
a lot
watched
of
it.
people who I've grown up around were obsessed with it. So I went into the Power Rangers film basically being like, I don't think this is going to be any good. Watched it with my cousin who was quite into Power Rangers. Anyway, the first 20 minutes to half an hour of the film I thought was great. And I thought, oh God, this has actually got something about it. And then literally as soon as they get the suits on, that's when it goes downhill, which is the weird thing.
Seriously?
Yeah, it's when it was basically like, and this is going to be a little throw forward to later in the podcast, it was like Man of Steel for me. Like, weirdly, as soon as he got the suit on, it just went downhill because they sort of went, we don't need to actually write the film now. Let's just have random explosions and bollocks to it. And that's kind of what the Power Rangers film's like.
Yeah. Kind of like,
yeah.
they're in the costumes, it's just going to write itself now.
Yeah, pretty much. And it's,
Yeah, what put me off watching it was just because it looked like a Transformers film.
Yeah, I can understand that because I remember when I watched the trailer, I thought the same thing.
Also,
And ironically, when I first watched the trailer, my initial thought was, literally, you don't see them in the suits. So what's the point in that trailer?
yeah.
And ironically, you get to the film, when you see them in the suits, it goes downhill. You can't win, movie studios! How hard is it to meet my expectations that are constantly shifting and changing? Star Wars.
You do have very high expectations, so I'm not surprised no one can meet them.
I do have high expectations, yeah. I should probably think about lowering my expectations.
He says as he looks at me with longing eyes.
Oh, it was pure lust, baby.
Oh, yes.
Anyway, what's next?
Anyway. So, yeah, was Power Rangers basically one of those other Bryan Cranston films that they really hyped him up in the trailers and stuff, and then just, he was in it for like 2 minutes, kind of like Godzilla?
Yep.
Ugh. I'll give that one a miss.
Brian, you're one of the best actors working. Pick better roles. Although then again, did you see the film that he did? I can't remember what it's called now, but it's revolving around Escobar.
Oh, The Informant.
The Informant. That was really good.
I didn't see it, but I've seen the trailer.
Yeah, very good film. Thoroughly enjoyable. And also, I haven't seen it yet, but it looks good. Cold Comes the Night.
Oh, yeah.
Which,
yeah.
that's actually on my Amazon watch list, so I'll get that watched. And yeah.
Is The Informant my recommendation for this week?
Yeah, actually. I think it's on Prime. Go for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll give that one a watch.
Yeah.
If I get a chance.
Yeah.
But they're doing a Breaking Bad film as well now.
Supposedly, yeah. Don't know how it's going to work.
No.
Can understand if it was a... Well, actually not. I do understand how it could work.
I feel like it's going to be, after the ending of Breaking Bad, Jesse's on the run, and it's going to have flashbacks with Walt.
Yeah.
I don't want Walt just in flashbacks.
No.
I know what you're saying, what you're about to say, because you never actually saw him die in the show.
Nope, I wasn't going to say that at all. You did see him die. He died at the end of it. You saw it. You see the life go out of him, and whilst he doesn't shut his eyes, he's dead.
Okay, I've spoken to a few people that say, oh no, he's not dead. I'm like, yes, he is.
He's dead.
Yes, he is.
No, I would actually, and it would be a bit left field. I would definitely have it set after the events of Breaking Bad, and it's all about Jesse, and is on the run, or it's his hunt for redemption. I would have it as him still trying to kick his addiction, and Walt is almost like a figment of his imagination that he keeps seeing.
So it's basically Jessica Jones season 2.
Kind of, yeah, which was good. It's a bit left field because obviously you would know it's a figment of his imagination.
Yeah.
But it will be Vince Gilligan, won't it?
Yeah.
I have faith. Breaking Bad was glorious from start to finish. Don't care what anybody says. A lot of people I speak to say they just found it boring after season 4, and I was like, season 4 and 5 were probably the best ones.
It got better and better as it went on. I mean, it's one of my favourite TV shows of all time.
Yeah, that train heist is some of the best bit of television I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's episode 14, Ozymandias.
When
When, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh.
You see, I don't want to spoil it for anyone that's not actually seen it,
And
because
I
thoroughly recommend this show.
I remember reading an article or a review about that particular episode, and I'm going to go into spoilers, but here is your spoiler alert if you haven't seen Breaking Bad. But then again, if people haven't seen Breaking Bad right now, again, what rock have they been living under?
Yeah.
So the best thing is, they said, this is why Breaking Bad cements itself as one of the best, if not the best TV show going, because it makes the hard choices. A lot of TV shows would have found a way for Hank to get out of that situation, and it wouldn't have made sense. Breaking Bad followed through with it because it showed that actions have real consequences. And I thought that was kind of perfect. I kind of ad-libbed that a little bit, but that's the gist of what they were saying. And that's why Game of Thrones was so popular in its prime, because that's exactly what it was. Even if it was the minuscule of fuck-ups that a character did, bet your ass there would be dire to serious to fatal consequences for them or someone they loved. And then it's as it went along, all of a sudden, the characters started to develop pointless plot armor, and it's what made people kind of go, oh no, come on, get back to what you're so good at. Whereas what they did to try and compensate for the main characters with shitty plot armor, they went, oh, here's a new cool character, dead. Oh, here's another new, dead. Here's a dead. And it's like, no, that doesn't work. Go back, just take a step back and go back to what you were really good at.
So, were they big characters or just minuscule characters that didn't really affect the story?
What, the dead ones? That they kept just literally... I remember one of the particular episodes, and it's actually one of my favourite episodes, ironically. It was an episode called... I don't know if it was called The Battle of Hardhome, but it is The Battle of Hardhome. And they introduce a character in it who's, really cool, really fierce, and they literally kill her off about 5 minutes later. And you're just like, why? Build them up, and then, because they were trying, I think they were going for emotional impact, and it was like, no, it doesn't work if they're only on screen for 5 minutes.
But,
yeah.
I mean, even the writers of Game of Thrones should know that.
But yeah.
Although I'm guessing after season 8, they sort of forgot about writing.
Season 8 didn't happen, in my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, Breaking Bad, one of the greatest shows of all time.
Yeah.
Give it a watch if you haven't already.
Absolutely. What was the news that we segued onto Breaking Bad with from that?
Shit, now you're asking me to remember.
I mean... Power
Rangers,
yeah. Oh, Bryan Cranston. I can see the connection.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I thought that was really good. I thought that the words we spoke there were excellent about the film and the television. It's just we're not very good at sticking to the news at the moment. We're segueing a hell of a lot, but that's what makes for quality content. Oh, yeah.
What, all about the quality content?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
right,
yeah.
What's next?
Moving
so
on!
We can briefly talk about that and then segue away from it.
So, speaking of, TV shows that I haven't actually watched, Mindhunter.
Ah, Mindhunter!
You were saying before that you've seen season 1 and really enjoyed it.
Yes, I have.
That's on the list.
Yep.
Well, season 2 now has a release date.
It does. It's August 16th.
Yep.
Bang on. I'm going to be in America. Balls. I'll have to hook my iPad up to some Wi-Fi whilst I'm over there.
Why don't you just not go?
Because I've never been, and America's my dream. Also, I'm off to see family. So, shut up, Josh. But yeah, I think I'll hook my iPad up to some of my family's Wi-Fi. I think my cousin does listen to this podcast, actually. So, hi, Mark. I'm going to steal a lot of your Wi-Fi while I'm over there. It's Wi-Fi for anybody who's not from the UK and isn't understanding the Wi-Fi. Little segue. Someone at work actually came up to me the other day and said about Wi-Fi, and I think they were being genuine, and they thought it was called Wi-Fi.
Oh, no.
I know. It's brilliant. Anyway, segue back. So, yeah, I'm going to steal the Wi-Fi, download all the episodes of Mindhunter, and then I'm just going to try and binge them all on the plane back, because it's total 9 hours in the air or something. I'll 9.5. 10 hours in the air.
Might be able to do it in that time.
Yeah, I think the first season was... Actually, no, I don't think I will.
Was the first season like 12 or 13 episodes?
I'm pretty sure it was. I'm going to double check this right now. Mindhunter. I put in Mindgunter. That's the German version. Mindgunter. Oh no! Season 1 was 10. Season 2 is 8. I can do it! I can do it, guys!
What better way to spend your flight?
And I'm going to be smashed off my face, because I'm not an easy flyer, and I find getting drunk kind of helps.
So you're going to remember none of Mindhunter Season 2?
And then watch it in glorious 4K when I get back.
Yay!
Yay! But yeah, if you haven't seen Mindhunter, do. It's awesome.
I'll add that to a list.
And then it's even more awesome when you realise that the main guy in it voiced... Now I want to say it was Kristoff in Frozen.
I've never seen Frozen.
Have you not?
I have no interest in watching Frozen.
It's 8. The best part about it is the snowman, whose name escapes me. Olaf.
You like Frozen?
And it's 8. It's alright.
Okay.
I think it's the best Disney Pixar film that has been done, but it's not the worst.
I'm quite shocked by that. I thought you hated musicals and stuff. It's a musical, right?
It's a cartoon. You can get away with it when it's a cartoon.
Okay.
It's a cartoon.
Yeah. Right, so Mindhunter.
Mindhunter to Frozen. We're getting amazing with these segues.
So I've got one more bit of news, and I think you had a couple afterwards as well.
Yes. It's going to be me trying to remember my bits of news afterwards. Oh, God. I've got one of them in my head. Got 2 of them in my head. 2. I had 3. So I've just got to remember the third.
So it's not actually aired yet, but The Mandalorian Season 2 has already been written.
Ooh. Well, nothing like being confident in your work.
Jon Favreau went on Jimmy Kimmel, trying to advertise for Lion King at the moment.
Yep.
Which I have no interest in seeing. But I'll skip past that.
No, I don't really want to see The Lion King either, but meh.
No, so he kind of teased that he's already writing the second season of it. So that's interesting.
That's good. Hopefully it's something that ends up warranting a second season, because I'm very much looking forward to The Mandalorian, even though I probably won't be able to watch it until about 5 years after it's been released on Disney+.
Yeah, well, I'm kind of hoping that it's going to get a Netflix release, because I don't think Disney Plus will come out in November in the UK.
No, it won't. They said it wouldn't.
No,
they said Disney Plus will launch later this year in America, but didn't give us an official date. What would be amazing if they launched it in August whilst I was in America, and I could watch it whilst I was over there, come back and be like, Josh, have you seen The Mandalorian yet? And you'd be like, no, Sam, I haven't. I'd be like, Josh, I have.
I'll be honest, I'd just stream it online.
Yeah, but that's cheating. And it's in peasant vision.
I'll settle for it.
Peasant vision?
I mean, I watched the leaked trailer for Mandalorian, and that was a cam.
Yeah, I watched that as well. Well, I say watched it. I had it on for about 10 seconds, then had to turn it off. I don't like peasant vision.
Basically, quite excited for the Mandalorian. Hope it's going to be good. It looks good from what I've seen, and season 2, apparently.
Yeah, you got to trust Jon Favreau as well. He's a good writer.
Yeah, Iron Man.
Especially when he's got creative freedom, which he did have with the first Iron Man, which he didn't with the second, which is why the decline in quality. Yeah. And then you see something like Chef, and you think, he's good as our John.
Have you seen they've done a Chef Netflix series?
Based on the same character?
Well, no, it's just basically Jon Favreau cooking, but he gets guests on.
Oh, right.
So he's got, like, the cast of the MCU.
Oh, I might have to watch that.
Cooking with him as well.
On our Netflix or American?
Our Netflix,
yeah.
Yeah, I've just seen it advertised. I've not seen it, but...
It's Jon Favreau, I'll give it a chance.
One of the guys at work really recommends it. Chef was a good film.
Chef was a good film.
Yeah. Iron Man 1 was a great film. Iron Man 2, not so great. What else is he?
In all fairness, he's done a lot of the live action remakes, hasn't he? He did The Jungle Book, and he's doing The Lion King.
He's doing The Lion King, yeah. Which, the reviews...
Reviews
weren't as good as
they don't interest me because they're just unnecessary, in my opinion.
But the trailer for Mulan came out this week.
Yeah, I saw. And I haven't actually seen the trailer, but I've never actually seen original Mulan.
It's probably the only Disney remake that's half interesting to me, because they're not actually adapting like the musical sequences.
Right, okay.
They're just having it in the background as instrumentals.
Right.
Which interests me a lot more than randomly breaking out into song.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a big musical guy, if I'm honest.
My favourite thing about The Lion King, though, is how it's considered live action, but it's not. They're not real animals. They're CGI animals, but whatever.
I wonder when it gets to the Oscars what it's going to get nominated for, if it gets a nomination.
Oh, it will.
Animation or live action?
The thing is, weirdly, it can't get nominated for original soundtrack because it's not an original soundtrack. But then again, didn't Bohemian Rhapsody win original soundtrack? When technically, it's weird how they do it. In all fairness...
Technically, it's not original, but...
Yeah, in all fairness...
They did re-record it.
I'm getting to the point where I now just don't actually pay attention to any of the Oscars or even the awards, because
neither do I.
They just don't actually represent film properly.
No, because they tried to bring in the most popular movie category, but I don't know if they actually... for the last Oscars, or if they're doing it for the next one.
I remember, yeah. It was basically a way of them shoehorning in comic book movies, but they're not doing it properly anyway.
But yeah, I don't really pay attention to it as well. I don't think it's really what moviegoers go to see.
No.
That get nominated.
No, it's basically if it's slightly political and
considered artistic in their vision. I mean, a comic book movie's artistic in its own right, but it would never get...
And arguably, with the greatest of respects to these other films that do get nominated and do win, it takes a lot more effort to make a giant blockbuster, monolith of a film than it does to make a artsy-fartsy film about
a couple of dancers and
Hollywood.
film it in black and white
Yeah.
and all this. Yeah.
No offense, La La Land. Never seen it, probably never will.
No,
right,
same.
I had 2 bits.
Okay.
Not 3. I was confusing myself because I thought Mindhunter was one of mine. Mindgunter was one of mine. But alas, he was not. So the first one is about... I'm going to go into the Bond one first.
Okay. Yeah.
And the announcement that Christoph Waltz will return as Blofeld. We don't know if it's going to be in the next one or if it's going to be later on down the line, but I'm assuming the next one.
It's going to be
I
the next
saw
one.
the article. I'm not going to lie, and this is kind of really bad on my part. I just went, all right, and skipped past it. I didn't read the article because, in my opinion, I don't think we need any more Bond films. And that's massively controversial, but I just genuinely don't think we do. I think they've had their day. I think they could make another great one, but let's face it, they seem to make one mint one followed by however many terrible ones before a great one comes around again.
Now, I kind of agree with you, but I kind of think maybe we're getting to the point that we did with Die Another Day. And Bond just isn't what it used to be. Because they took a few years out and then came back with Casino Royale.
Yeah.
I think they need to do something similar after this next one. I think it's just at a point where it's become a bit stagnant. It feels like an old-fashioned franchise. Mission Impossible has kind of reinvigorated the whole spy franchise kind of thing.
Yeah, but the thing is with Mission Impossible... Here's the thing, though, with Bond, is that there isn't anywhere creatively that they can take it. Because at the end of the day, there's certain quirks that actually make it a Bond film, and a lot of those quirks they just do not work anymore. Like, there's
the odd sexualism.
I wouldn't have called that a quirk, but I was going to go with things like, the gadgets, and it just doesn't work anymore. Like, it worked in the 90s because the 90s was cheesy and got away with that sort of stuff, but I mean, especially the kind of direction that they've been taking it recently, where they've been trying to get more serious with it, and they're trying to bring it more back and grounded in reality, which worked beautifully for Casino Royale, but again, then didn't work after that. It kind of worked in Skyfall, but then they kind of blew it all up in the end with Home Alone on roids, which is essentially the final act.
I think they've kind of moved away from the whole silly gadgets kind of thing.
Yeah.
They were known for in, let's say, like the Roger Moore films, and to some extent the Pierce Brosnan films.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but then it's like, is it still Bond? What's apart from calling the character James Bond, what was the last one? Spectre,
yeah.
Apart from it being, all the characters being named that, what about it screamed, this is a James Bond film to you?
Aston Martin.
Apart from a car that was in it.
I think it had, I suppose Bond kind of has its own tone, those films, which, yeah, I suppose you're right in the point that you change that, it doesn't really feel like a Bond film anymore. Because
that's what they tried to do with Quantum of Solace. I remember that because they basically went, Jason Bourne is massively popular. Let's copy that.
Yeah, but
and it didn't work.
Did that completely wrong.
It was because it doesn't work. It doesn't work because Bond. I just don't think works in modern day anymore. I just really don't, and it's a shame because the character can be done really, really well. I don't think going forward it will.
I kind of enjoy that the recent films have kind of addressed that. Do we need you anymore? Because is it C from Spectre says to Bond, you're basically the agent of a bygone era from the Cold War.
Yeah.
Why do we need you? And then he kind of obviously tries to prove his worth by shooting everyone.
Pretty much. That's Bond's answer to everything. I will shoot and I will stick my penis in things. And that's pretty much all I do.
If you want to know the proper storyline for, is it Bond 25?
Yes.
Bond 25.
Why don't you head over to the Radioactive Screen YouTube channel? I see what you were going to do there, Josh. There's a very, very good video on it.
Because they've not actually announced the title yet, so
nope.
This could be.
It was rumoured to be Shatterstar.
Yes, yeah.
But I think that was quickly quashed.
I don't mind that title, but it sounds a bit...
Doesn't sound Bondy.
I mean, we've had Skyfall, Spectre, Shatterstar.
Yeah.
It kind of works.
It's weird how it can just be a title, but it just doesn't fit within
the franchise.
Within the franchise, sort of like what The Rise of Skywalker, it doesn't feel like.
I mean, with Bond, they also rumoured that this film was going to kill him off in some way. Yeah.
See, I wouldn't mind that.
Which I think at this point, Daniel Craig wants him to kill off the character.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind them killing off the character and then, again, leaving it 10 to 15 years and then coming back and going, right, all of those... What is it? It's 25, isn't it?
25,
yeah, we rounded that off in a nice round number. That's 25. This is now completely different. And I think they should go down the route of James Bond is the code name. It's not him.
Yeah, I wish in Skyfall they hadn't have ruined
included that. Yeah.
And
it just
the
makes
Bond family name.
The continuation makes... continuity makes no sense.
Although it makes no sense as to why you would just have about 50 different agents named James Bond.
Yeah, they pick them out specifically. What is your James Bond? Excellent. We've been through like hundreds of people. We ended up going through the phone book, guys.
Didn't I see you last week and you were black?
Yeah.
Or something?
Yeah. See, because then it would make sense.
We could get Idris Elba.
You could get Idris Elba, and shitty people on the internet wouldn't have any grounds to complain then. We want Elba. We want Elba. This is the problem as well.
I mean, I want Elba. You don't want James Bond anymore.
But if I was gun to my head, if they went, look, we're going to shoot you if you don't pick the next James Bond, I'd be like, can I have two? And I'd be like, I want Elba and I want Fassbender. Problem is, if they do shelve it for 10 to 15 years, those guys are going to be way too old by that point.
I thought you wanted Richard Madden.
Richard Madden would be a good one as well. Can I have three?
No, you must choose one.
Ah, well, Richard Madden makes the most sense then.
Fair enough. I mean, I think he's the youngest, isn't he?
Yeah.
So he could probably play that for a bit longer. I mean, I think Daniel Craig's, in his 50s now?
Yeah.
And he's, sick of playing the role.
Yeah. He was sick of it after Skyfall, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think
He only got persuaded to stay on for Spectre.
Yeah, because when he was advertising Spectre, he basically said he wanted to slit his wrist rather than play another Bond film.
Yep.
And now they've got him back,
and
so
now he's
money!
Back. And it's been delayed because he chopped his ankle up or something, didn't he? Or broke his arm.
There's been a lot of stuff going on.
It's been two people have died or something, haven't they?
Not died, just been injured.
Right. What's the... There was something where two people had died on set of something recently, but it's still going. I can't remember what it was.
I'm not sure about that.
That's not important.
There was an explosion or something, and one of the crew members got critically injured.
Jesus.
But I think they've started shooting again.
Right.
Remy Malek's the villain, which is going to be a pretty interesting one for him. I can kind of see him playing a villain.
I can see him playing a Bond villain as well. But
so I think it'd be quite good.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope it's better than Spectre.
Can't really be any worse, could it?
Yeah, it could be a lot worse.
No, actually, yeah, it could be.
We've had worse Bond films.
We've had
Die Another Day.
Yeah, Die Another Day. As much as it is so bad it's good, but Moonraker...
I can't really remember Moonraker that much.
Literally, we're like, Star Wars is popular, let's set James Bond in space with lasers and stuff.
I mean, that was the thing with Roger Moore's
we all know
Bond
the real low point of James Bond is when they paint Sean Connery and tape his eyes back so he's, air quotes, Asian, so he can go undercover as an Asian operative. I mean, you could tell it was the 60s or 70s whenever that one came out.
Different times.
Jesus Christ.
Times.
Insanity.
I can't wait to see Daniel Craig do that in the next Bond film.
I'm just going to black Daniel Craig up and say, look, we gave you Idris Elba. Oh, man.
Yep. Because he wants to kill the Bond franchise that much, he's willing to black up.
Yeah. Oh, Christ. I am so sorry for that. Kind of. Right, let's move on to the next bit of news. I'm going to have to try and remember it now because that's just totally taken over my mind. But no, it's Joaquin Phoenix and Joker. The director has recently stated in an interview that they are taking nothing from the comic books. which is a very interesting way of marketing your film a few months before it comes out, isn't it?
Yeah, I feel like there's going to be a lot of butthurt fanboys.
I think a lot of people have complained about it, but what I think it is, I think it's because of the way he worded it. And what I think, and this is my interpretation of what he said, without actually having have seen or read the full interview, of just having seen that snippet. I'm really bad at that. I've got to actually start reading these things. But it's basically, my interpretation of it is, we've not taken any specific storylines, but we are drawing on the source material, we're just not drawing on the storylines, because he's basically said he wants it to be a Joker that could exist without Batman. He said something like Batman may not actually exist within this universe. I mean, we're already seeing that there is a Bruce Wayne in the trailers.
Bruce Wayne, Thomas Wayne.
And Thomas Wayne. But like, it's a world that could exist without the Batman.
Which makes the most sense to me.
Yeah, as a standalone Joker film, it does make the most sense.
Because
no matter how well this one does, I don't think we'll ever get a second.
No, it's probably
it does
poised
seem
as
like
a
it's going to be
film.
Yeah. I mean, Joaquin Phoenix doesn't really do sequels, does he?
No, I don't think he ever has.
No. So...
I mean, they're doing Gladiator 2.
Oh, God, yeah. I can't believe they're doing Gladiator 2. Why?
Well, they were planning one years back, but it involved, space.
No, it was written by Nick Cave of Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, the musician.
Right.
And it basically involved Maximus in the afterlife being tasked with going to fight the gods. I think we touched upon this before, and he somehow ends up in modern day as the president of the United States. Yeah. It was batshit insane.
What?
Yeah. Well, apparently Ridley Scott is actually back on to direct Gladiator 2.
Yeah.
I don't know how... I mean, obviously, Rome didn't cease to exist. And it wasn't historically accurate.
Yeah,
Commodus was a real human being.
I don't know.
He did exist. So there is a way to do it. I just don't think it's unnecessary. Gladiator on its own is a fucking amazing. It's one of my top 5 films. So
I'm just waiting for him to do Exodus, Gods and Kings 2.
Or Robin Hood 2. Ugh. I never actually saw that. I never actually saw Exodus, Gods and Kings. But yeah, back to the Joker.
Segue.
But so that's what I kind of took from it. That is saying we're not drawing on the storylines, but we are drawing on the source material, and I'm still looking forward to it.
Same.
I think that the trailer sold me on it. I think the trailer makes it look incredible.
Well, like you say, every Joker storyline involves Batman, so you can't pull from the source material like that. You can't adapt those storylines. So that makes sense to me. I think what else he kind of said was that this isn't any iteration of Joker that you'll have seen before.
Yeah, which is fine.
Which is fine, yeah. But I think some people are so diehard that they want to see the Joker that they have in their heads, their favourite Joker from the comic books.
Yeah. But what I will say to those kind of people is that we know in this film there isn't going to be a Batman. There is not going to be Batman. Yes, there might be Bruce Wayne, but there isn't going to be a Batman. So wouldn't you rather they do the experimental phase with these kind of films, and then when it actually comes to, DC pulling their fingers out of their arse, hopefully what they're doing with the Patterson Batman, and actually getting a proper story, wouldn't you rather see the proper Joker than really do it well when there is a Batman in that universe, and when it is all of the characters, getting Harvey Dent,
most likely
doing him right,
Joaquin Phoenix, but
what, as the Joker?
As the Joker in the
No, it won't
in
be.
the Robin Pattinson film.
No.
Yeah.
No, it won't be.
No.
Oh, right, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
I thought you were saying it will be.
No,
I was going to say. No, it'll be someone standing. I don't think they'll do the Joker. I think that's the right. I think it's the right move. I think it'd be a massive misstep going straight into the Joker.
What, right after a Joker solo film's just come out?
Yeah, and whether that does well or not, but going straight into a Batman and Joker film after the travesty that was Jared Leto, unless they cast Gyllenhaal, then I'm fine with them going straight in and being. Yeah, fuck it. Gyllenhaal's good enough to pull it off.
Robert Pattinson versus Gyllenhaal. A match for the ages.
Yeah.
Truly.
And then hopefully a Viggo Mortensen, Ra's al Ghul.
Oh, yes.
But more on that when we eventually get around to doing our Batman casting, which will eventually come. It might be on the podcast, it might be on the YouTube channel. If you're excited for that, just wait and check us out and go and subscribe to the YouTube channel and
follow our podcast.
And follow our podcast and follow us on all social media. We're on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram.
Nice little plug there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, and that's the reason why I put the Joker as the second bit of news that I had, because then we can segue quite easily into DC!
Yep. I see the way you did it there. I quite like it.
So in recent weeks, we've sort of been suggesting films to each other that we know the other one hasn't seen. Last week, you might remember that I suggested Red State to Josh, and he talked about it for a brief bit. And your suggestion to me this week was... Aquaman, the Jason Momoa Aquaman, because you purchased it, I'm guessing, from HMV because you were just in there and went, oh, that's cheap.
Yep, pretty much.
I enjoyed it. It still has the sticker on it.
Yep.
And I watched it, and I have thoughts. Now, I may have fallen victim to the fact that everyone seems to have raved about it, but I don't get what people raved about. And that's not me saying that it's a bad film. I think by DC standards, it's actually an alright film.
It's fucking amazing by DC standards.
Which,
let's be honest.
Exactly, it isn't saying a lot, me saying it's a decent film by DC standards, but I know it's a silly concept, and there was only really one way of them doing it, but I think they kind of went, we might have to go for overkill here. Whereas what they should have done is just sort of dial down a little bit. Because they had like 4 different villains in it. And it was just, oh God, this is way too much to keep up with. It was just completely all over. Like, it was so much to take in. I kind of halfway through it was just like, wait. What is happening? And I don't like it when films do that.
I will agree that it does seem to go at like breakneck speed at some points and then just randomly slow down.
Yeah.
I'd say the pacing's a little off on the film itself.
Definitely.
But I think considering Aquaman in the comics has been a bit of a joke, they kind of had to make it as...
tongue in cheek.
To be honest.
Oh, right, okay. I thought you were going to say tongue-in-cheek.
And I would say, yeah.
Because it was kind of tongue-in-cheek.
A little bit tongue-in-cheek, yeah. When Mira's jumping out of planes and shit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, one of the more funnier sequences, isn't it?
Oddest sequence in it.
I mean, what I will say is that Jason Momoa has got fucking amazing charisma, and that, like I say, he did carry that film completely, because he's been excellent in the role. I think he probably was my favourite part about Justice League, and that was with a Ben Affleck Batman.
What, Steppenwolf wasn't your favourite part?
No, but speaking of bad CGI, there was a lot of it in Aquaman. I know they could. It's kind of like, how were they going to do the underwater scenes? But Jesus Christ, they looked bad.
It was better than the underwater scenes in Justice League.
There was underwater scenes in Justice League?
Yeah, where Steppenwolf tried to get the mother box from Atlantis.
I genuinely do not remember. I watched that film in the cinema and pretty much instantly forgot it because it was that bad.
Yeah, Mira fights with him, and then there's a chat between Aquaman and...
I remember that bit briefly.
And Mira, and it just looked terrible.
Yeah.
So I can see why they kind of went with a different style for the underwater scenes.
But they still looked bad.
I understand what you're saying, yeah. And the hair kind of awkwardly waving in the background looked a bit odd.
I mean, that's always going to happen. It's I'll give them a bit of leniency for that, because obviously, as far as I'm aware, there's not actually been anything that's been done like that to have them actually being able to properly speak underwater to each other. So
no, this is
it's kind of new territory, and I guess they will have done the best they could.
I will say that they're kind of hyping his character up for the sequel, but Black Manta was kind of wasted. Because he was in about 2 fight scenes, and then it was like, oh, he's just taking him out. Great.
Yeah, it was very much shoehorned in that storyline.
He was poised as quite a big villain in the trailers, but it's not.
I mean, in all honesty, they could have just taken his whole story out, and it wouldn't really have affected much. But yeah, no, so it's not an awful film. I don't understand why people raved about it. Well, I won't say the film that I much preferred, but because we are going to do
our ranking.
Yeah, so we're going to do our DC rankings as it stands, but obviously just the DCEU, DC Universe, DCU, whatever it is.
I will say,
we're not including the Dark Knight trilogy, because obviously the Dark Knight would be head and shoulders above everything that has ever been done.
I mean, all three of them would be at the top.
Yeah, and the Dark Knight Rises isn't even actually that good, but yeah, it's still better than the best that DCU's done. Well, no, I'd actually say it's on par with like some of them.
I will say that props to them for making Aquaman as enjoyable as it was, I suppose, in my opinion, because, you know, like I say, he's not that good a character. Not
really.
He talks to fish.
Yeah.
Great.
Well, no, his powers go beyond that, but, like, it's hard to translate.
General gist of
it's hard to translate from comic to film. A character like that, which is why the MCU is so phenomenal, because they've taken characters that are kind of like that and have made them good. Like, how the hell do you make the Guardians of the Galaxy so good?
I mean, to be honest,
how the hell do you make the first Guardians of the Galaxy probably the second best film, third best film in that franchise? there's a talking tree that can only say 3 words and a talking raccoon. How?
That likes to seal people's limbs.
Yeah.
The thing with Marvel films is they've all been like B and C list characters, haven't they?
Mm-hmm.
That they've just adapted. And
The only A-list character that they now have was Spider-Man. Spider-Man has always been an A-lister.
yeah.
I mean, the film that kicked it off, which is Iron Man, he was unknown unless you're a diehard comic book fan. I'm trying to think, the only A-listers were Spider-Man and probably Captain America. Because even Thor wasn't. Thor in the MCU is completely different from Thor in the comics. It's insane how they've done it.
Thor's obviously known for like Norse mythology and everything like that.
Obviously, yeah, but they didn't actually follow that in the comic
Marvel
books that
iteration,
much. No, in the comic books, more in the
MCU.
In the MCU, they have actually drawn more in the Norse mythology, which I think obviously is the right move.
It's completely changed now because we've got Fat Thor, but
kind of looking at my Funko Pops and seeing which other ones there are.
Yeah, I'm just eyeing them up,
yeah.
to be honest. I might take a few of them with me on my way out.
You can get lost. Don't touch my Funko Pops.
So, should we move on to not the MCU rankings?
The MCU rankings, that'll take a while. Yeah, DCEU. So this is DCEU rankings for now. We will probably, we said before the podcast, we said we were going to go more into, may revisit these. That was the word I was looking for. We may revisit these close to the time of Joker being released, but Joker isn't DCEU. It's standalone. So it's going to have to be Wonder Woman next year.
Technically, it's DCU.
But it's not.
But it's
standalone.
Yeah.
I'd say when we do these things, we focus within what is in that specific universe.
I mean, I feel like the DCU's completely changed now because they're going to be focusing on more solo films.
It's weird. But it's something to talk about on this podcast, and it's more quality content. Yes. So, do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. So this is my ranking from worst to best. Suicide Squad.
Yeah. I have a feeling these are going to be kind of similar.
For the most part, I think, yes. So, Suicide Squad, there wasn't really anything I liked about it. Maybe just the soundtrack. But it wasn't like it was done how Guardians of the Galaxy was. It was just shoehorned in there. Like, Don't Stop Me Now was just shoehorned over...
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Was it?
Yep.
Maybe Don't Stop Me Now was in the trailer.
No, Bohemian Rhapsody was in both.
Okay, so Bohemian Rhapsody was just kind of shoehorned in there, and it was just played no effect.
Yeah, those were my exact thoughts whilst I was watching the film. They just went, oh, Guardians did this, and it was cool. Let's do that as well.
And the random descriptions of the characters was just like, okay, so you've basically done what you did in Batman v Superman, where you showed off all the cameos, but just been like, here's backstory in written form, just go with that.
Yeah.
And now we're going to have a shitty little...
There's a random throwaway line that will not come back in any way, shape or form in this movie. She kills and the souls go into her sword, and yeah, that's not significant in any way, even though it sounds significant the way I've just said it to you. It's like, great.
So, next on the list, Justice League.
We're 2 for 2 so far.
As much as I love all the characters separately, together, it was just bland.
It certainly was.
I think it was a bad story as well to it.
Yep.
Like, have you seen all the stuff from the Snyder Cut that was like Darkseid and all this stuff that they were apparently teasing?
Wait, yes, I have.
Because
is that when it goes into Desert Batman?
Yes.
Yes, I have seen that.
Yeah, we're going to go into that more in Justice League, But I feel like we should have got some of that more in the finished film because it's...
Oh, wait, no, yeah, sorry, that was Batman vs Superman, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Then no, I haven't seen the Snyder Cut for Justice League.
They're not released for Snyder Cut, but they were going to play more into the Desert Batman
kind
of thing,
yeah.
Because it's a vision he has in Batman v Superman, isn't it? And then it was going to play more into the actual Justice League because I think he planned it as... They announced 2 films at first, but he planned it as a trilogy, which kind of ended with the death of Batman. But I just think what we got, you could tell that it was 2 different directors that were handling the film, and it was just a mess.
Yeah.
And obviously, bad CGI aside.
Yeah.
Next on the list is Man of Steel.
3 for 3.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. All I can really say is it was light on story, going more for spectacle in the second half.
Pretty much, yeah. I think, like as I say, we touched on it earlier on in this podcast. I enjoyed the first half.
Yeah.
Or the first hour or so. I thought it was actually quite good, even if it was a little bit bland and a bit slow in places. And then all of a sudden, it's like halfway through. I remember saying these exact words when I first got out of the cinema, and after watching it, I got out and I just went, it's like halfway through, they just decided to stop writing the movie and just go, fuck it, the Avengers did a Skybeam, let's do a Skybeam. And it's kind of like the dawn of Skybeams, wasn't it?
Then we got it in Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad, Transformers, pretty much everything did a Skybeam.
I mean, I think every Transformers film has had Skybeams.
That's true, yeah.
To be fair. So they probably kicked it off, to be honest. Yeah, it's such a shame that it wasn't a great film, because I really enjoy Henry Cavill as Superman.
Absolutely.
I think he's been completely wasted in the MCU.
Yeah, definitely.
I almost said MCU then.
DCEU, yeah. No, yeah, he's definitely because he's a brilliant actor, which is why I can't wait to see the Witcher TV series that's coming out.
And I thought Kevin Costner's performance was great, minus the whole, just let this bus full of kids die.
Yeah.
Because you have to hide your powers.
Yeah, it didn't really make a lot of sense. Yeah.
Savage bastard. Next on the list.
Yep.
Batman v Superman.
We are 4 for 4.
4 for 4.
We are 4 for 4 right now.
We finally got to see Batman, and it was amazing.
It's just a shame the rest of the film wasn't.
Yeah.
We also got to say, I'm Mickey Mouse, Lex Luthor. Your name's Batman. Why don't you go fight that man over there called Superman? My plan makes no sense.
Martha! Murder! That's all I can really say on Batman v Superman.
Pretty much, yeah.
Doomsday. Next up on the list is Aquaman.
We are 5 for 5.
Oh, no way.
We are 5 for 5.
I feel like our next two might be different.
Possibly, yeah.
I mean, we've already spoken about Aquaman.
Yeah, what I will say is that I really did want to put Batman vs Superman ahead of Aquaman, simply because of Batfleck, but I couldn't justify it because I had to think about, on the whole, which film is better from start to finish. And to be fair, Aquaman is better from start to finish than Batman vs Superman. But it was a close call.
So next, Shazam.
We are completely the same.
No way.
Completely the same. Shazam second.
Yep.
And these two are literally neck and neck for me.
Yeah, same.
But
same.
Shazam was great. It was such good fun. It was a breath of fresh air for that universe.
Yeah. Because it was just light-hearted fun, and that's all it needed to be. Going into it with the trailers and everything, I was kind of like, okay, it looks good, but I don't really know what to expect going into it. And then I saw the film, and it was probably one of the most enjoyable superhero films from this year.
Yeah. I think one of the big thing is because it wasn't afraid to just sort of poke fun at itself relentlessly, which DC had been afraid to do up until that point. And if you really want a more in-depth analysis of our opinions on Shazam, why don't you go check out our old podcast where we did do a Shazam review.
Yes.
Can't remember what episode it is, but just troll through them all, listen to them all, it'd be great.
Yeah, I say it's one of the most enjoyable superhero films of this year because Endgame, as fun as it was heart-wrenching. Moving on. So then obviously Wonder Woman was number one for us both. I can't believe that we were exactly the same. Yeah, that's just so weird. But yeah, Wonder Woman was just, Gal Gadot just kills it.
Yeah. Absolutely. It was great. It almost felt like, obviously, if there were DC characters, yes, but it almost felt like it was an MCU film. They seemed to get that perfect balance between the action, the seriousness, and the comedy in the right places. One of the things I think really helped it as well was that the expectation was so low going into it that we came out and you just went, holy shit, that was great. And the big thing that the DC films that's gone against them is that they have been so inconsistent, even in just their individual films, where they've had highs, they've had lows, they've had highs again, they've sort of had mid-tier, whereas Wonder Woman was just consistent all the way through. It was just a solid film from start to finish, except some of the dodgy CGI towards in the end battle. But you can forgive it. I was
going to say the end battle was very...
Yeah, but you can forgive it because of what came before, and Wonder Woman was an excellent film, and I actually can't wait for the second one.
Can't really say much more about it.
It's not only a great story, it's a great origin for the character as well that they did.
Yeah, I love her kind of naivety with everything, kind of like how she's just carrying the sword around World War I London. Yeah. And everything, yeah.
Just like so impressed with ice cream. Yeah. Things like that, yeah. Like I say, perfect balance between the humour and seriousness, which was much needed at that point in time.
Yeah,
kind of saved the DCU at the time as well. So I reckon if that had have bombed, and then next up was Justice League, I think I think that, or Suicide Squad, I think that'd have just been it done.
I think it was the start of a turning point.
Yeah.
For the DC films.
Yeah.
Because Justice League was already in development, and I think they already knew that was going to be a bad film. That's why they rushed it out.
Yeah.
And then what we've got after it has been good.
Pretty much. Unless Suicide Squad was after. I can't remember when that came out.
Before.
It was before Wonder Woman?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
So, what's your review on the DCU as a whole?
Not great.
Yeah.
Yeah, even with the good films that are in there, on the whole, they have not even missed the mark. They've not even come anywhere near the mark that it should have been, because they've done it wrong. But I've said it before and I'll say it again. They need to just stop. Whatever films they've got in development, they just need to can. So basically, yeah, Joker's coming out, that's fine. Wonder Woman's coming out, that's fine. I would say make Wonder Woman the end of the DCU as we know it, and go, bad, we'll do it properly. Start with Robert Pattinson Batman and build it up properly.
Well, I was going to say...
Do individual solo efforts with new cast. I'm really sorry, as good as Gal Gadot is, as good as Jason Momoa is, as good as J.K. Simmons was in his very, very brief bit as Commissioner Gordon, just get rid of them all, start again, Robert Pattinson Batman, go fresh, but make sure you get the story right, and then just go from there and build it up.
I agree for the most part, but I disagree with just recast everyone. Because I think we've already established these characters, and they are very good actors and actresses in the roles.
They are, but the problem is it's going to be like the X-Men. If you were to stop for however many years, go back and do the X-Men again, but have it as James McAvoy. This is just hypothetical, I know they're not doing that, but have it as James McAvoy, Michael Fassbender. Even if they came out and said, these are now totally new films, and they have nothing to do with those old ones, it wouldn't make sense. There'd still be people out there that wouldn't be able to comprehend that. And there'd still be that sort of thing there. It's harsh, but it needs to happen. Because it's the thing about DC, they don't have the best heroes, but they have the best villains. Sorry, here's the thing about Batman.
They have
He's
two
the best hero, and they have the best villains. Oh yeah, because you're a Green Lantern spaff master, aren't you?
Okay, 3 of the best heroes.
Who was the other one?
Superman.
Superman's garbage.
Superman's
I don't like
so
Superman.
overpowered.
I don't like him. I think he's a crap character. He's overpowered, and it just makes for a boring film because you think, well, there's not really a situation he can't handle.
Yeah,
and then it makes for everything else. You go, well, just call Superman. He'd resolve it in like 2 seconds.
Well, the whole death of Superman storyline.
They just need to do a proper Batman universe.
Yeah, but I think focusing on one character
good enough to pull it off. But I do think it needs to be a TV show more than a film.
Well, we are getting a Pennyworth series.
Don't get me started on that crap.
Yeah.
Pointless.
So, that was our ranking of the DC universe.
Yeah.
I keep almost calling it the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, so I think this is a good place to
Probably a good
it.
time to end it. Yeah. Well, I had fun. Did you have fun?
I had a lot of fun.
Good. We hope you also had fun at home or on the way to work or on the pooper, listening or watching this on YouTube.
Yes.
Yeah. Good stuff. Please head over to the YouTube channel, like all of our videos, subscribe to our videos, watch our videos, give us lots of feedback and lots of comments. Head over to the Facebook channel, Facebook page, Radioactive Screen. Head over to the Instagram and Twitter, give us a like, give us a follow, all that kind of jazz.
Yeah,
and
well, I'm hoping we've got some exciting things coming in the future.
We do, yeah.
Yeah, make sure you follow us on all social media.
Yeah, and you'll be kept up to date with all of our comings and goings.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
all of our bowel movements and everything like that.
Maybe in depth like that.
Oh, is that not where you were going with that?
Maybe. I haven't decided yet. Depends what I do after this podcast. Anyway.
Right.
Have a good one, guys. Bye.
Bye.